What do you get when you want to go big, but still fit in small spaces? A compact SUV, of course. The SUV has slowly been replacing the family sedan and wagon over the years, but there are still those that want to ride high and still find parking in the city. The compact SUV provides that option, but which one? The answer, of course, depends on a lot of factors, mostly in how you use it. Do you want more sport or more utility? Here are the best bets for the high-riding hatchbacks that are compact SUVs. The truth of the matter is that most of the modern SUVs give only lip service to any action that takes place where the pavement ends. Only Jeep has managed to make sure their trucks at least pretend that they'll do the dirt road boogie. That is until Ford looked jealousy at that market and did what they did last time they wanted a piece of Jeep's pie. They introduced the Bronco. The old Bronco had lost its way, becoming large, bloated, and famous for a slow car chase. The new Bronco comes with a raft of features that only become useful when the going gets rough, all under its go over any terrain or GOAT mode. The new Bronco comes in a number of trims, but the Sport, with its short wheelbase and removable bits, including the roof and doors, is the one oriented to those who prefer flannel and probably know how to start a fire without matches. Walk in your local Walmart parking lot and start counting Honda CR-Vs, and you'll quickly run out of fingers. CR-V's been big sellers since their introduction in 1997. Unlike the Bronco, the CR-V is definitely in the camp where off-road means well-groomed dirt pathways, and the all-wheel drive is more a function of dealing with weather rather than terrain. But in committing to the road, the CR-V tends to overachieve. Motor Trend's test drivers have repeatedly found the CR-V remarkably capable when it comes to the twisties, with only a little compromise on ride. For 2021, Honda has gone turbo on a 1.5-liter engine alongside their hybrid options. Just make sure that you get an easy-to-spot color so you don't lose it in the parking lot. In the United States, Subaru has a bit of a split personality. On one hand, they're the makers of the all-fire WRX, the rally-inspired all-wheel drive car that became popular in the US before it was even available in the US, thanks to video games and the antics of WRC driver Colin McRae. The WRX and the BRS are tuner favorites for people who wear print shirts and use hair products. On the other hand, there's every other model that Subaru makes favored by the granola and library crowd. Maybe it's their easy off-road ability. Subarus were doing the four-wheel drive on everything bit longer than anyone. Or perhaps it's their longevity. Look through any used car listing and you'll find a number of affordable used Subarus still tooling around stubbornly, refusing to die. Unlike other manufacturers, Subaru hasn't gone all in with SUVs, since they figure everything they make is a go-anywhere car. But for those who insist on that higher ride, the Forester is there for them. The Subaru's 2.5-liter engine produces around the same horsepower as the 1.5-liter turbo on the Honda that manages a slightly slower race to 60 miles per hour from stop. If you're having a hard time figuring out which CR-V is yours in the parking lot, at least you're not a RAV4 owner, the compact SUV sales champ 4 years running. Part of that winning formula is allowing the RAV4 to be all things to all people. On the low end of the price structure is a no-frills package with front-wheel drive, taking on the 2.5-liter engine and its 8-speed transmission. From there, it's a matter of what kind of adventure you're looking for and how much you're willing to spend on it. For those hauling half-size athletes to and from practice, there's an increasingly complex way to frame the letter L from the LE, XLE, and XLE Premium and Limited. If you want to do some off-roading while the Spawn practice hockey, they've handed the RAV4 over to their mad science Toyota Racing Development Team, or TRD, for an off-road centered option. America loves its SUVs, but when it comes to American SUVs, compact isn't a big priority. But that doesn't mean that they abandon the crossover segment entirely. Chevrolet offers the Equinox. Like the RAV4, how capable you want it to be is based on how much you want to spend, with several trim options. Like the CR-V, it gets by on a 1.5-liter turbocharged engine that turns in decent fuel economy for a car masquerading as a truck. It lags behind its competitors in standard features, but tries to make up with that by being able to take the abuse of regular use. The better refinement of the competitors might be alluring until the 50th time a muddy cleat has kicked the door panel. Volkswagen has built a niche for itself, making small, practical cars that don't forget to entertain the person behind the wheel. They're the standard bearer for the hot hatch, with one of the first cars to enter that segment, the GTI. So when Volkswagen enters the SUV market, it's expected to be at least a little fun to drive, and it manages that feat well enough to earn an Editor's Choice Award from Car and Driver. At 184 horsepower, it won't pin you to your seat, but unlike most of its competitors, there's an optional third row of seats to not be pinned to. The majority of the SUVs on this list come in at a reasonable $25,000, up to around $35,000 for those who like options or upgraded packages. But maybe you're the kind of person who thinks, I want to pay twice that for my compact SUV experience. I need more than 180 horsepower in my life. Starting at $85,000, the Porsche Macan Turbo also doubles the output of the standard compact SUV with 434 horsepower turbocharged V6. While the Porsche faithful aren't particularly fond of the idea of an SUV with a Porsche badge on it, Porsche didn't forget who they were. The Macan features the same kind of chassis tuning that its world-beating sports cars have. Porsche isn't interested in bench racing numbers. There are SUVs with higher top speeds or faster 0 to 60 boogies, but none of those will drive like a Porsche. While most Japanese badges have built their reputation on making affordable and efficient cars that aren't necessarily exciting as a rule, Mazda has carved out their niche by trying to make their cars come with a side order of excitement. Their flagship sports car might be the RX series, but the MX-5 single-handedly carries a simple sports car banner. Mazda brought that priority set to the CX-5. Like the Porsche, its numbers hide the experience. Its base 187 horsepower engine falls in line with most everyone else in its class, offering 250 horsepower via turbo if more hustle is what it's needed. The CX-5 manages both curve-friendly driving and riding comfort that usually comes on the luxury end of the segment for twice the price. That combination has put the CX-5 on the top of many automotive magazines' list of compact SUVs. Nissan has been comfortable being the weird kid in the corner, who's wearing a poet shirt and day-glow vest, daring anyone to say something about it. For years, they committed to the Juke, an SUV that you couldn't lose in a parking lot if you wanted to, with looks that might in fact make you want to lose it. They've lost the odd man out design aesthetic, and for 2021, have made efforts for their Nissan Rogue to approach the standard of its competitors. Just like its classmates, it has an engine that makes around 180 horsepower that does the 0 to 60 dance on the low end of 8 seconds. It has a CR-V and Forester CVT, or continuously variable transmission. The complicated CVT uses a gradually changing diameter instead of individual gears, offering smooth, shiftless acceleration. CVTs have attracted derision among those who take their cars with a heavy dose of right foot, but it comes into its own and a people mover. The Sportage is not as well equipped as some other options. It's certainly not as efficient. While test drivers report a dynamic ride, it's no CX-5. It doesn't even hold as much cargo. What it does offer is a 237 horsepower intercooled turbocharged engine that moves the SUV to 60 from the stoplight in 7.4 seconds, almost a full second faster than everything that doesn't have a Porsche badge on it. The main drawback is that the turbo adds a bit of a premium to the overall price. It really comes down to how much you want your SUV to behave like a sports car, a station wagon, or a serious off-roader. At least until they come up with a compact SUV that will also act like a flying machine. Then that one. Take that daily commute.